for August 26, 2015. At this point, I would like Mr. Woods to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Amy, roll call, please.
Commissioner Valenzuela?
Present.
Commissioner Padilla?
Present.
Commissioner Maciel?
Present.
Vice Chair Woods? Here. Chair Muse?
Here. Thank you. At this point, I will now open public communication. Is there anyone willing to step up and talk about anything outside of what's on the agenda? Seeing no interest, I now close public communication. At this point, the first agenda item is the consent calendar. Are there any commissioners have any questions in regards to the minutes from the last meeting? Seeing no questions, at this point I will accept a motion to accept the consent calendar from May 27th, 2015. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any objections? Seeing none, motion passes 5-0. Now, next item, Amy.
Actually, Honorable Chair Abraham Tejas, representing planning staff. This item before you is a request for extension of time of a conditional use permit for a used automobile sales business with accessory automobile repair, including body work within the IC Industrial Commercial Zone. The location is 14340 Arrow Highway. The applicant is Victory Auto Trend Incorporated. The case number in reference is CP823. You may recall that the Planning Commission approved the conditional use permit at a duly noticed public hearing on February 25th, earlier this year, 2015. As part of the approval, the project was subject to a number of standard and project-specific conditions. For instance, Condition Q in the resolution was included as a standard condition which states that if within 6 months after the date of approval, CP823, all conditions of approval have not been satisfied, CP823 shall become null and void if they don't meet those conditions of approval. Since the approval, of this CP823, the applicant has not been able to complete the necessary work in order to comply with specifically Condition G, which states that any needed spray painting will be completed in an AQMD approved spray booth to be located within the enclosed building. Now, in accordance with the time extension regulations of the city's zoning code, section 153.210.495, planning staff processed the time extension request letter, which was actually received on August 14th, 2015. So staff recommends that the Planning Commission approve a 6-month time extension as requested until February 25th, 2016 by adopting Resolution PC 1511 entitled "The Resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of Baldwin Park approving an extension of time of the conditional use permit for a used automobile sales business with accessory automobile repair, including bodywork within the IC Industrial Commercial Zone, the location 14340 Arrow Highway, the applicant Victory Auto Trend Incorporated, and the case number CP823. This concludes staff's recommendation.
Thank you.
Sure.
Are there any questions from any of the commissioners towards staff?
Yeah, I have a question. Are they dragging their feet? Or are they actually?
To my knowledge, they actually had several other conditions of approval to meet, some of which included the installation of a trash enclosure wall at the rear of the property. They've worked on that. They've already completed those things. The thing that they needed to do was the spray booth, and from what I'm aware, there was a code enforcement case involved. So there is a case, and that's being processed diligently. And at this time, they want to proceed with making sure that they comply with their conditions of approval. Right. That I'm not aware of. That's not something that they provided to us.
Any other questions? Okay, I have one. It was brought up by Mr. Woods as far as whether or not they are dragging their feet. But my question is, of these last 6 months, have they been spray painting, or what have they been doing with in regards to the auto repair?
To my knowledge is that there was a complaint received, and that's why there is a code enforcement case. The extent of the case, I'm not aware of. At this time, the request is just for a time extension to be able to comply for that condition. But it sounds like there might have been some activity.
Okay, with that activity, so in essence, they didn't adhere to the request to have that built before any painting was done. Am I correct?
Correct.
So during that first 6 months of the request for the permit, in a sense, they violated the permit. The request.
They are in violation of their conditional use permit at this time. Correct.
All right.
I got another question too. Didn't we instruct the applicant that no painting will be done there specifically? And even though they went ahead and violated the regulations that we have set up, and we still want to give them another extension, is that the main purpose, the paint booth, or is it other?
It's the main
Specific
purpose for the time extension is to acquire and install the spray paint booth. And yes, we did have a condition of approval, but it's specified that if any painting were to occur, that it needs to be done in AQMD approved spray booth within the confines of the existing building.
I recommend that we just scrap this for right now, and they can reapply again when they're ready, and then we can go through it again, specifying exactly what the Planning Commission had done before.
Yeah.
That's my recommendation.
Okay, at this moment, we have a recommendation by Mr. Padilla in regards to postponing this item on the agenda. At this point, is that a motion?
Motion.
Chair, and this is a motion to
Postpone.
deny the extension?
Deny the extension and reapply.
Okay.
Is there a second? Okay. Seeing that there's no second, motion does not pass. At this point, the recommendation from my part is to amend the 6 months and shorten it to 3 months unless they have something in place at this moment where they can give you a time frame when that paint booth will be installed and ready to go. But the 6 month time frame, I think it's too long to allow them, particularly with a code enforcement case that is currently being held in regards to them painting right now. So I motion that we accept the extension, but reduce the amount of time from 6 months to 3 months.
Could I just ask a question before we continue? Will this denial, if we denied this conditional use permit, would that in essence put them out of business?
Yes.
Yes, it would.
That's quite, I don't know if anybody's seen that place. They've got quite an inventory and quite an operation. And it looks like it, it could possibly be a decent tax revenue for our city. So not that we should just give them anything they want, but I think 3 months is
It's fair.
They could get a booth in 3 months. I've seen booths built, and I've had clients that have built booths, and it's not that big a deal.
Is there a time? I'm sorry for jumping. Is there a time limit as to when AQMD can come by and do an inspection on that site? Does that take a long time? Because I just want to make sure they have that. If we're going to give them an extension, that they have them the right amount of time.
To be honest with you, neither Abraham or I know their time frame or anything like that. So I can't really answer that.
Okay.
As serious as this is, I'm amazed that someone isn't here from that company to kind of listen in. If they knew this was taking place tonight,
Yes.
well, I'd be here.
And that's, the motion which I have out right now, I understand that they need the painting to keep their business going. But, again, part of the requirements for them to stay in business was for them to have this paint booth built and taken care of in the 6 months of the time frame that we approved it back in February. So I think, like I said, the 3 months is a adequate time frame to allow them to get that booth put in place. And if there's some roadblocks that prevent them, some legal roadblocks or something to that effect, where they can't comply within the 3 months, then they can come back to the Planning Commission and reapply.
Is that in the form of a motion?
Yes, it is.
Before we go, I got a couple more questions. The violations that they committed or have been accused of, can you be specific on that?
I'm sorry, repeat the question?
Okay, the violations, the code that they violated, could
Right.
you be specific on what they are? Could you specify what they are, if it's paint or if it's
What are the
body
code-
work, if it's
what are
from
the
fence
code-
water?
What are the code enforcement violations?
To my knowledge, it's just the painting. I think the complaint was spray painting and possibly odor, but that's just from what our code enforcement personnel has indicated to me.
You mentioned
I
something
haven't
else
seen
about the
case
water too.
itself. Water, no, that's not, from what I recall, part of the code case.
Well, a paint booth is already built. They just come in and.
Right, they drop it
It doesn't
in.
take 6 months. If you
Right.
got $20,000, you can put a paint booth in like tomorrow.
Right,
Just a matter of doing it, because there's contractors that do that.
right.
A friend of mine just did one, cost him $20,000, and the paint booth was done in a week. So 6 months is a long time, yes.
Right.
Okay.
So we have a motion on the table for an extension for 3 months.
I second it.
Any objections? Seeing none, motion will pass with the amendment of 3 months time frame instead of 6 months. Okay, Amy, next agenda item.
Next agenda item. Honorable Chair, Commissioners, members of the audience, this item, which is before you, is a yearly item, and requests that the Planning Commission elect a new chair and vice chair to serve at the pleasure of the Commission for the next year. Both of these positions are elected annually, and any commissioner can be nominated for either position. The chair's duties include obviously presiding at Planning Commission meetings, calling special meetings as necessary, signing all documents, and seeing that actions are taken properly. And of course, staff and the city attorney assist with this. The vice chair of the commission serves in absence of the chair and assumes those duties as just stated. So at this time, staff is recommending that the Planning Commission commence discussion and elect a chair and vice chair to serve for the next year of the commission. And this concludes staff's presentation.
Well, thank you, Amy. Okay, commissioners.
I'd like to nominate Gilbert Padilla as chair.
Are there any other nominations?
I would like to nominate Mario Maciel for vice chair.
Actually, let's deal
Let's stay with the chair
first.
first. Yeah. Are there any more nominations? All right. At this point, as far as we have one nomination for chair, Mr. Padilla. And you can take a vote. Can we do a vote?
Need a second.
Okay, so I have a nomination for chair for Mr. Padilla. Do I hear a second?
I second it.
All right. Are there any? Do we go by a vote at this point, or do we?
You can say all those in favor.
All those in
Okay.
favor?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those object? Motion passes 5-0. Now, election for vice chair.
I'd like to nominate Mr. Mario Maciel for vice chair.
Do we have a second?
Yes, second.
All right. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we have a new vice chair. All right. So, effective when?
I'm sorry?
It's effective immediately. However, if you want to finish the meeting, it's up to you and Mr. Padilla.
You can finish the meeting or hand the gavel now.
Hey, be my guest. If you want to finish the meeting.
Go ahead. You're doing a good job.
Oh, thank you. All right. So, effective immediately.
This is where you grant yourself a big pension.
Yeah, a parachute. Yeah. Okay. Next agenda item.
Thank you, Chair. This is under Commission Staff Communications. And what this item is, this report and the attachments are being given to you now in a kind of study session type atmosphere to provide you an overview of the proposed changes to two sections of our municipal code, the definitions section and the water efficient landscaping section, as well as our landscape design manual. And this all is relating to water efficient landscaping pursuant to the governor's executive order B-29-15, which he signed on April 1st, 2015. A little bit of background. Water efficient landscaping standards were originally required for each city pursuant to Assembly Bill 1881 in 2010. The city adopted water efficient landscaping standards as part of our comprehensive code update, which became effective in 2010. However, as we all know, the state's in a severe drought, and in order to address that, changes and modifications have been proposed and adopted by the California Water Commission in July of 2015 pursuant to the governor's executive order. There are several things within our ordinance that are going to change, and those include, first of all, a reduction in the applicability of the ordinance. Right now, you need to have minimum new landscaping of 2,500 square feet in order for the code section to apply. That is now being reduced down to 500 square feet. Yeah. And also, because technology is improving, now this order requires more efficient irrigation systems. It requires incentives for gray water use. And also there's new standards for capturing stormwater, like in rain barrels and things of that nature. There's also a significant reduction in the square footage of turf area allowed, grass, because we all know that types of grass and turf suck up a lot of water. There's also a mandatory reporting by the city requirement. Lucky us. There's also going to be new and updated definitions. And then there's also all these new 500 or square feet or more landscapes. They have a new water efficient landscape worksheet. So because of the amount of material and the changes, we wanted to provide this to you and give you an opportunity for questions well before the public hearing, which we're looking to do on September 9th, because we have to have this adopted in place by December 1st. So we're moving really quick. We understand that what was provided to you tonight, there were some typographical errors and some references that still need to be included. All of that will be updated and fresh and shouldn't have any errors for the public hearing documents. So at this point, we're looking to have the Planning Commission public hearing on this item on September 9th, and then a public hearing before the City Council on October 7th with an effective date of mid-November. So at this point, if you have any questions for me of this or anything like that, we'll be more than happy to entertain those for you. But like I said, my goal here was just to give you a brief overview and provide you with the material further in advance of just the public meeting on September 9th. And this concludes my presentation.
All right, thank you, Amy. First of all, any questions from any of the commissioners?
Yeah, I have a question. Does the, do these standards apply to everyone or just to new construction?
New and rehabilitated landscapes, everybody.
What if you don't rehabilitate?
Then no. It would either have to be new, or let's say, for example, you were rehabilitating a landscape as part of an addition onto your home, then it would apply. But if you're just, moving along day to day, no. It only applies if you're getting like a permit or going through design review or anything like that.
If we all just pray for El Nino, maybe that'll help.
Okay, so with the, I see landscape design manuals, and if a homeowner wants to redo their landscaping, are there any types of incentives provided by the city other than coming from the, the state or the Department of Water or something like that?
Unfortunately, no. We don't have any incentives at this point. I do not know if one of the respective water companies in towns offers any incentives or anything. We'd have to check with them.
Would you do that, please?
Metropolitan Water had a $2 per square foot incentive, but I think it's fading fast because they didn't anticipate how popular it would be, and they're running out of money.
Should be saving money. What do you know I'm talking about?
Yeah, I will check on that and have that information available at the Planning Commission meeting. I can tell you that we have let the water companies know what we're doing, and we've been in close contact with them.
Hi, did I understand the letter that came out a week ago that every resident must reduce her water consumption by 5 gallons per day? Is that what I read?
That come from the water district?
Yes,
LA County, yeah.
LA County.
Okay. That could be what it said. I didn't receive a letter, so I don't know.
If anybody else read the letter, I think it says 5 gallons per day, which is not very much. That's loading dishes and let your water run. If you stop that, that'll save you 5 gallons or
That could be a couple of toilet flushes.
toilet flushes, short showers. Yep. They're not asking for too much. And we can still water twice a week.
Well, at this Planning Commission meeting on the 9th, will we be coming up with, if the residents of Baldwin Park will be attending, will we be providing some type of options or different kind of opportunities for them? Or is that something that the water district should be really focusing on as far as methods on how to save water?
That's really, the educational component of this really needs to come from the water companies. The city doesn't have a utility, and we're not in the business of, telling the water district what they should do. So.
Yeah, but the only problem that is right now is a lot of land or front yards, grass is going brown, and in a sense, the water conservation, you're also looking at possible code enforcements in regards to how they're maintaining, because some people are just letting their front yards go.
My understanding in talking with code enforcement is brown is the new green, but being 5 feet high is not acceptable. You still need to mow it.
Yeah, mow dirt. Okay. All right. Are there any other questions or concerns from any of the commissioners?
Just to be informative, if anybody read that letter from the water company, if your odd numbers can water certain days, even numbers, and that's, I think it's Mondays, it is Tuesdays and Thursdays, and no watering during the weekend at all.
Oh, wow.
Mandatory, it says no watering during the weekend. Is that what you read?
Yeah, I think so. And
Watering
also,
during the weekend. And I
but
still see people watering in the weekend. And sometimes it's both in English and Spanish, so you cannot understand unless somebody didn't get the letter. But it's you can water your grass in 2 days a week if you add some sedatives to control the moisture. It'll stay green. There's no excuse for grass turning brown, really. Small amount, I mean. whole yard.
That 5 gallon per person was their way of expressing the percentage
Percentage.
that you would, if you save 5 gallons a person, you would automatically make the
15% cut
Yeah.
that they want, yes.
Is there a meeting by or something that the water board, I guess we can go to one of their meetings if we're interested and ask them, because what's the percentage of water conserved up to this point? It's
Yeah, and they've also been invited to city council meetings and made presentations at city council meetings as well.
okay. All right. Any other questions before we move on? All right, thank you. Amy, next agenda item.
The next item under Commission Staff Communications is a verbal update on the Vineland Residential Care Facility at 3562 through 3576 Vineland Avenue. I spoke to the department director this morning, and that item is still in negotiations. Don't really know where we're at. That's all I know. Can I just keep moving?
Keep moving.
Thank you. The next item is the verbal update on the proposed Irwindale Materials Recovery Facility and Transfer Station. We have heard there is no action, nothing's going on. So, no action there. A verbal update on the proposed resumption of mining and subsequent reclamation of the Olive Pit, which is bordered by Los Angeles Street, Azusa Canyon, Los Angeles Street, and Park Place. My understanding is that both the city of Baldwin Park and the city of Irwindale are still in negotiations, going back and forth. So, and then I also have a couple of other items that were not on here. The first item is I would like to introduce my new part-time secretary over there, Elia Partida. Raise your hand, say hello. She helps us out about 20 hours a week and will be a fixture at Planning Commission meetings, taking notes and helping us out there. So we're excited to have her, and she's been great so far helping us out. The last item that I have is, I know in the past we've talked about the downtown specific plan. We are in the process, it's getting closer to finalizing our draft environmental, or finalizing our environmental impact report, and we are looking to have a public hearing on the specific plan and the EIR in October. However, our October meeting, which is scheduled for Wednesday, October 28th, one of the consultants, one of the important consultants, the traffic consultant, cannot make it that day. Instead of pushing this to December, because November, the second Wednesday falls on Veterans Day, and the fourth Wednesday is the day before Thanksgiving, nobody wants to do a meeting then. We were looking to have a special meeting of the Planning Commission on Tuesday, October 27th, and I wanted to see if that was amenable to all the commissioners as opposed to Wednesday, if you were available. I see 2 nods, 3 nods.
I can work in.
Oh, thanks.
Okay with me.
Mr. Maciel?
I wouldn't be able to because I have a parish council meeting on Tuesdays every fourth week
Okay.
of the month.
I'm fine.
We'll miss you.
Are you available? Okay, so
Okay.
4 yes, so
Okay.
let's schedule that for the 27th.
Yes, that would be Tuesday, October 27th.
All right. And that other item?
Okay, read this. I'm good.
You're good? All right.
Good, thank you.
Let's give Mr. Muse a hand for,
Yes.
for being a chair.
What, are you giving me a chair? Oh, thank you. Yeah. Okay, first of all, I'd like to welcome our, because I know Amy's happy. Okay. At this point, I will now accept a motion for adjournment.
I second.
Is there any objections? Seeing none, meeting is adjourned. Thank you.